Hi everyone, and welcome to the next webinar in our series of Limelight training webinars. Today, our three product owners, Greg, Melissa, and Chad, will be going through all the latest features and enhancements to your platform in the month of August. Now, let's get started.
Hi, I'm Greg Austin, the product owner of the platform here at Limelight. I focus on all of the features within the platform. In this month's webinar, we'll be going over some of the new features as well as enhanced features that we've made during the month of August. One of the biggest changes that we've made is we have a new and improved API documentation. We now support complete front-end JSON API and have enhanced documentation, making it really easier than ever for you to integrate your front-end offers with our Limelight platform. We'll take a look on how to find and navigate around the API docs, as well as how you can run live tests from the documentation itself so you can get that front end set up. We've also continued to build around the flexible ways that our clients want to offer their product. We've added a new billing model that allows you to bill by schedule, which in this, you can pick a specific calendar day to bill on throughout the year. So for example, if you run quarterly billing and aggregate all invoices to a specific date throughout the year, you could then bill somebody on March 15th, June 15th, August 15th, December 15th. And that way, everybody who falls into that billing model is being billed on the same date. We've also added the ability to offer a rebill discount mid-subscription. So for instance, if somebody's on a subscription chain and you want to maybe offer them a discount, maybe customer service, you want to give a little flexibility into, hey, if somebody's going to churn, I want to give them a 10 or 20% rebill discount. You can offer that as a one-time rebill discount, or we also have the option to offer that as a lifetime rebill discount. So depending on your business, you can kind of pick and choose how you want to use that setting. We've also added two new fields to the order details to help connect the subscription chain. We now have in the order details, you'll see one that says previous order ID. That would be the previous order that recurred to cause this one to recur. And then the other fields we have is the initial order ID. So that's the order ID when this initial subscription was placed. So if you're somewhere down the line in rebill depth, 6, 7, you can always trace it back to that initial order ID to see how this order was started and what changes were made throughout the subscription chain. We've also revisited some of our coupon functionality. We have full integrations with a referral partner now, Referral Candy. And with that, we wanted to really enhance our coupon functionality so you can get the most out of that provider. So those coupon profiles have been enhanced that allow you to copy and paste a CSV list of promo codes. So if you're working with something like Referral Candy and you have a list of 500 referral promo codes, you can then copy them over and paste them into a single coupon profile within Limelight, making it really easy to keep those two providers in sync. Vice versa, you can also take all of the promo codes, those 500 promo codes, copy them to Clipboard and paste them in Referral Candy. So wherever you set them up first, we've kind of made it easier to get them into your other system. We've also enhanced some of the usage settings of the coupon profiles. You can now put usage on the individual promo code. Previously, the usage was always based on a coupon profile. So if you had a single coupon profile at 10 or 15% discount, each promo code within there could only be used X number of times. We've now put the usage on the promo code itself, so you can have a single coupon profile and allow a customer to use just one promo code one time. So if you have, something like a referral program where every time I refer somebody, you're going to give me a, $5 off coupon. It allows you to give more promo codes out saying, they can use the single coupon profile, but they can only use each promo code one time. And I'll kind of show you, it will make more sense when I show you the interface around that. But we've also added a few configurations for the customer profile as well. Within segments, our new feature that allows you to build specific customer lists based on a certain setting. We now have the fraud risk score in there. So when somebody is assessed a fraud risk score, you can now segment by that. So if you don't want to include risky customers, that have maybe been deemed a high fraud score by our transaction select product, you can now filter by that fraud score. We've also added the ability for you to import a CSV list of blacklist customers. So if you're coming from another platform, maybe you have customer data in another system and you need to, import that blacklist list. We really make that easier than ever. So you can just, copy and paste that full CSV list, and all of those customers would then be blacklisted. On our subscription management page, we've added filters that allow you to get a more granular view of an initial attempt versus a retry attempt. And when I say initial attempt, I mean the first attempt to capture payment. So on a recurring billing scenario, it would be that date when it naturally tried to rebill. And if it was declined or approved, you'll be able to see that forecasted amount of those natural rebill attempts versus the retry attempt. So once something has already attempted and now it's going through a decline management process, a dunning process, you can isolate those specifically for those that are going through retry. And I'll show you that in the interface as well. So without further ado, let me take you into the interface. The first thing we'll actually start with is the full JSON API documentation. So to get to this documentation, you'll just visit our help center. To navigate there, you'll see this little help icon in the top right-hand corner of your CRM. Just click there. That will bring you to our documentation. You'll then see on the homepage API documentation. You just simply click that, and then you view our transaction and membership API doc. Once you click this link here, you'll be navigated to our new documentation. We now have all of our documentation in Postman. And for those of you who are developers or familiar with an API doc, this is kind of, the core of where all API docs are heading. We have a full JSON API. So we still support those, URL encoded strings of how to submit an order. But now we have a much simpler, cleaner, it's easier to troubleshoot for our support team when you're submitting in that JSON format. So once you get to this doc, you'll see that this new doc is going to be the JSON doc. You can also still visit our legacy doc, and I'll actually show both to show a little bit of the difference. When we're looking at the API here, this is all organized by the specific category that you're trying to target. So previously, we kind of had our API docs split into two things, transaction or membership. All updates were through membership, all fines, views, all that stuff was membership. Any new order call was transaction. But we've really reorganized our doc to make it simpler. So for instance, if you're trying to do just a product index, I'm trying to pull the array of all of my products back. It's within the products folder itself. It's much more intuitive to kind of navigate around and find what you're looking for. So you'll see once I click into products, I got my product index method. We have full examples of how to build that request. And again, this is available to all users. But you'll see here that within product index, okay, I just got to pass product ID. Okay. And here's what a example response would look like. Okay, here's all my product arrays. I get returned name, type ID, price. Okay, now you can kind of simulate that flow of how you're going to build your front-end offer site around that. Another one we have in here is all of our order calls. So for instance, if you're building out a new order call, some of that structure of how you're going to build that out is now all in here. You'll see that this is our new JSON stuff. So what we do in JSON is we now allow you to submit a product array. So each product array would get its own qualities of offer ID, billing model ID, quantity, versus the previous documentation of here. Just navigate around. So if we kind of look at how those requests used to be formatted previously, you'll see that in the orders, new order call, that this is the previous way. It's just a CSV list of string. This is just a URL encoded string that you're then submitting to our system. And this is kind of how all the parameters are structured out. The great thing about Postman is you can actually download it and run it directly from your local. So this is a collection that sits on Postman, and it can be downloaded directly into your local application. And right here, you'll see that I have Postman downloaded, and all of the billing parameters that I can then submit with that new order request. You can also hook this up to actually run live tests out of your environment. Right now, I have it pointed towards our 2 demo environments. But for instance, if you're trying to point this to yours, you just simply, input your app key here. And then you can actually point that request directly towards your Limelight instance. So if you're trying to test new order calls, test, order view, order find kind of flow, it really builds a nice, easy structure for you to do that. So the way you get there is you'll basically see at the top of our documentation that you have this link to run in Postman. And what that will do once I click that link is you'll basically be able to open the application. Right now I'm running it in a Mac. So I just click Postman for Mac. Once I click that, it will just download that collection to my local Postman application. And if you need any help to that, please call support, and we can certainly help kind of navigate around, get your test orders set up. But this is a big deal for us, kind of moving to this new structure. And, for those of you who have been with us for a long time, this was kind of a big pain point of ease of integration with Limelight. So this really simplifies that approach. So just moving on, the next thing we've done is I said that we actually built a new billing model. So our core 3 billing models are just bill by cycle, bill by date, bill by day. We've added this one to bill by schedule. So we had a couple clients that were requesting, I do quarterly billing or I do biannually billing, and it's not relative to when that transaction was purchased. I send out all my invoices on April 15th every single year to all of my customers. So the way this works is you have a setting, it's called buffer days. Essentially, we don't want to rebill somebody if they're within a X window of that rebill date. So for instance, I bill everybody on March 1st. Now, if I had a 10-day buffer window, that would allow anybody who is within 10 days of that March 1st date, so dating back to February 18th, for instance. So anybody who had an initial transaction from February 18th to March 1st wouldn't then be rebuilds, because you don't want to rebuild somebody too soon. So basically, if I put a 10-day buffer window, if they're within 10 days of that rebuild date, they'll actually get billed on the next rebuild date. So let's set up a couple scenarios here. It's a simple calendar builder, very, very easy. Let's start April 10th from there. Okay, so for instance, I now have a 10-day buffer window. So I had an initial order that was placed on February 27th. Instead of rebilling that person on March 1st, because that would be the next date in that order, we will actually say, okay, they're not within, or they're within this 10-day window. We won't rebill them on March 1st. We're going to actually, their first billing date will be on April 10th. And so on. And that buffer day can be expanded to, 100 days, 30 days, whatever you really like. It's really just to not hit somebody with the rebill right when they initially purchased. And right here, you can actually configure up to 365 days. So if I wanted to bill somebody on every day of the year, I can do so. Don't really think that's a huge use case, but you could definitely do so in this platform. The other thing we've added is right from the orders page. So let's say, I have an ongoing recurring order. I have recurring shipping. This order is going to bill in 29 days. Now, this person calls into customer service and maybe wants to cancel their subscription. You want to allow your customer service a little flexibility to say, if you can retain somebody, you can offer them up to 25% discount. So by putting that in their back pocket, it allows, maybe somebody who would have churned to actually be retained. The way you do that within the order is you can just go right into the order details. You'll see the rebuild discount fields. If I put in 20% here, I now have the option to preserve the rebuild discount. And this is checked by default. So right now, 20% would then stick to all of the recurring orders throughout that subscription chain. So they would then get what we call a lifetime subscription discount. If you uncheck that box, that actually just becomes a one-time rebill discount. So, maybe you're low on funds that month and you want to, I'll give you a discount on your next recurring billing. Well, the next order that gets created will have a 20% discount. The order after that would then just fall back to that 100% of the price format. So you can offer it as a one-time or a lifetime rebill discount. The other thing we've added to the order details is this previous order ID and initial order ID. So if you look, for instance, I'm on order ID 598. This is actually the third rebill in a subscription chain. And you'll see here that the initial order ID, and they're all linkable so you can really see that chain, was 595. And you'll see from the order history note here that it created 596. 596 has 595 as its initial and its previous because it was the first order, so it's both. But now 596 creates 598. And now you'll see you have two different order IDs here. You have the last one, which is just the previous one that caused this child, or you have the initial one, which is that initial transaction that started that subscription chain. So it really helps, troubleshoot any changes or updates that were made on the order. It helps kind of track them back to where it started. Jumping out of order details, we've also enhanced coupon profiles. So going into some of those enhancements, we have the ability to CSV paste a list of promo codes into here. So for instance, if I wanted to add 3 promo codes, I just, comma separated values. I can do this right from an Excel sheet. If I just, copy the first column kind of thing, paste it in here, it will automatically comma separate them. And as soon as you do that, just click add and you can add, up to 500 promo codes at a time. So this really makes, if you have promo codes living in another system, really easy to add them here. And let's say I created them in Limelight. I took the time to create, 100 of them. And now I want to pull those into another system. So what you would do simply here, just copy to clipboard. You got 5 promo codes copied. You'll see that as soon as you use paste functionality on your computer, those are now there. So what that does is really makes it easy to, I want to take my promo codes out of Limelight and put them in this spreadsheet or move them into another system. It kind of really simulates that back and forth. Very, very simple. The other thing we've done is, if you've been in this, you'll kind of notice it's a little bit of a new UI. But we've also added new usage settings. So previously, the way this would work is you had a total usage and you had a per customer usage. And the way that would work, it would be on the specific coupon profile. So even if I had 500 promo codes here, if I said per customer, this can only be used once, it would mean the whole coupon profile could only be used once by a single customer. When you look into clients that are trying to do, a referral program, is they want to be able to give you, here's 5, 6, 7, 8 promo codes as you refer new customers to me. But you can only use each one of those promo codes once. So we basically added promo code usage to this. So you'll see a tooltip that will explain, but total would be the number of times this coupon profile may be used globally. So are you limiting this coupon profile, or are you limiting the number of times each promo code can be used? So this would be your global promo code. So if I had a single promo code 113, that code could be used, let's say 100 times. So across my whole customer database, code 113 can be used 100 times. If I want to limit the code once per customer, so the code 113 can only be used once per customer, but across my whole customer database can be used 100 times. And there is tooltips kind of explaining how each one of those settings works. And we have full help documentation supporting this as well. But it really helps, fine tune how you want to offer those discounts and those promo codes to your end user. Within segments, we've added a new segment condition. So if you're using our transaction select product or any sort of fraud protection count that returns a fraud score, we've allowed you to now filter by that fraud score. So for instance, I might be building a segment with everybody in the United States, but I want to filter out everybody who's a fraud risk. So I'm going to say fraud risk, no, billing country, United States. Now that will return all of your customers that are not, that don't have that fraud risk flag. So basically it allows you to filter out anybody who's fraudulent out. But in hindsight, you could also create a list of customers that are fraud risks. Maybe you've let certain people, into your system that are on subscription billing, and you want to kind of, aggregate who are my riskier customers. Maybe there's some sort of outreach you want to do. Maybe there's certain funnels that you want to funnel those people through. But you can really isolate those people who are at risk of fraud or who have been deemed risky. On the blacklist page, you now can do this similar to coupons, but you can now import a CSV list of blacklist people. So you'll see here that this will now support a complete import of blacklisted customers. And as we do that, just go to import. And you'll see this new import type, blacklist. As soon as you put that file in here, you'll then see that they are now on this page, they are now blacklisted customers. So any import would then put them there. And the columns there are pretty much what you see here: email, zip, IP address, first name, last name, customer ID. And all of those fields can be found within our help documentation. That we have a sample import file of what that looks like in our help documentation as well. And lastly, we've added a filter subscription management. So some of the requests on subscription management are, it's tough to forecast because I have certain things going through dunning or decline management, and the rebill percentage of those is not as high as something in its natural rebill state. So once it's declined once, I might have only 20% chance of capturing those funds. But something that hasn't attempted yet maybe has a 65, 70, 80% chance of rebilling, whatever your rebill percentage is. So to isolate those orders, we've just added that to the advanced filter set here. You'll see attempt type, initial attempt, retry attempt. So for instance, if I'm just trying to look at everything going through decline management, I would just look at retry attempt. I would click search. Now it's going to show me all of my forecasted orders going through decline management. Vice versa, if I did initial attempts, it's only going to show me those orders that are going through their initial natural rebill attempt. So it will isolate anything in decline management. And it really lets you, kind of forecast better and also, make better decisions on moving recurring dates or, forcing transactions to another, another offer or another gateway. And it really helps, just kind of like aggregate your forecast revenue within our system. And that's all the updates to the platform for the month of August. Thank you, and stay tuned for next month.
Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'm the product owner for integrations and partnerships. Today, we'll walk you through and demo all of the newest features and enhancements we have for you. We'll cover all of the updates for the month of August, including Limelight segments enhancement for active campaign, payment routing enhancement to count $0 and $0 initial and subscription transactions, return profile functionality for line items, post reshipment to Great Lakes Fulfillment, and Brazil charge card payment type for alternative payments. So let's jump in. Our first enhancement is for Limelight segments with Active Campaign. So within Active Campaign, you're able to create lists and you're able to create automations for those lists. It's all pretty straightforward on the Active Campaign console side. Create a new one, and you can actually create an automation from scratch or create one based off of a template. Once you're in there, all you have to do is follow their wizard and get those set up. Once you have your list and your automations all set up, then you'll want to take note of your URL and API key that can be found under Settings, Developer. Here's your URL, and this is your API key. Once you have those, then you can use those to connect to your Limelight platform. You would do that through Settings and Providers, create a new profile, select the autoresponder type, and then Active Campaign. You would give it a name, enter in your API key and your URL that you pulled from the Active Campaign console. Once you have that set up, then you're all ready to create your segments on the Limelight platform. So from segments, you're able to add a new one. You would give it a name, and then in the auto processing settings, you would select that profile that you just created. And then as you can see, my lists and my automations that I had set up in the Active Campaign console are automatically populated for me. I select which ones I want to run for this, and then I can start creating my segments. For more information on how to create segments, you can visit our YouTube channel. Do a search for Limelight CRM to get to our channel, and then do a search for new marketing tools. And you'll find the webinar for segments plus 3 segmentation strategies to increase your ROI. Next up is the enhancement to the payment routing profile. So what we've done is we've added a new setting in the profile, allow $0 initial and subscription limit count. What this does is help you to limit the number of $0 trial transactions that are routed to any particular gateway. This helps prevent your gateways from capping out on the first rebill when preserved billing is on. By default, it's set to no, so if you want to activate that, all you have to do is switch that to yes. Our next enhancement is with line item returns. So what we've done is we've updated our line item return functionality to work with the line item or with the return profiles that you already have set up. So as you can see, I've already returned this first line item, so I can't actually return that again. But for this one, I can choose to return it, select my reason, and when I hit return, then that same prompt that you would see at the order level return is now shown to you at the line item level. So this will follow your return profile configurations. Select yes. And now your line item has been returned. There are no changes on the return profiles themselves, so you can use any of your existing ones or create new ones if you so choose. Use those settings within that return profile, and it would be applied to your order level and return or line item returns. Next up is the post reshipment to Great Lakes Fulfillment. So now when you're using that Great Lakes Fulfillment provider, you'll now have the option, once an order has a tracking number, has been posted to Great Lakes Fulfillment, and Great Lakes has returned a tracking number, now you have the option to post reshipment to Great Lakes Fulfillment. So what this is going to do when you select this is it will post reshipment to Great Lakes Fulfillment. The previous tracking number that was there will be placed in the order history notes, and the order will be marked as approved until a new tracking number is received from Great Lakes Fulfillment. It's as simple as that, and now this order has been successfully resent to fulfillment. Our last change is for alternative payments gateway. We've added Brazil charge card to that alternative payments gateway. So all you have to do is update your configuration in your campaign to add that if you're already using alternative payments. So you would add your alternative payment profile for Brazil charge card provider. And then in the payment types, you would select your Brazil charge card. Once you have that, then you're able to process new orders with that Brazil charge card as a payment type. And everything else will flow as it does today. That's all of our updates for August. Thank you, and stay tuned for updates next month.
Hi, my name is Chad Buckendahl. I'm the Director of Analytics at Limelight. And today I want to cover just the updates that we've made in the month of August. And what you see in front of you is kind of the agenda, the overview of what I want to cover. So I've got two topics. I've got new functionality and new enhancements. The new functionality, I'll get into that in a bit, but I'll cover new enhancements actually first. So with new functionality, what I'll get into is 3 items: scheduled reports, API notification report or API calls report, and then bin management dashboard. So I'll cover those in more detail in a minute. So what I want to talk about first, though, is the new enhancements. We have with analytics and reports, we release every week. If you weren't aware of that, please be aware that we do release every week on Wednesday. So there are, in any given week, we'll make bug fixes, we'll make slight usability improvements. Sometimes we release new reports, dashboards, that type of thing. So there's really more to talk about than I'll cover here for the month of August. We had several items pushed to the production site in August that I won't cover, but hopefully you see those and are using those to help navigate analytics and reports a little bit better. So, but what I do want to say though about these enhancements that I'm not going to go over, if you do have any questions or you have any feedback about these enhancements, I would love to hear them. So please get in touch with me through whoever your main point of contact is through Limelight, and say that you want to talk to Chad, and I certainly can discuss any questions or items like that, suggestions that you have. So the next item is the chargeback alerts dashboard date change. So I'll cover this briefly here in a bit, but it's worth talking about. It'll be one of the last items that I cover. But what we did if you've got the chargebacks alerts service that you're using with Limelight, what we did is we changed the date, the default date on the dashboard from using the date that the chargeback was reported to the date that the chargeback was alerted. They're oftentimes different dates. So most often they're different dates, and it's more actionable to be able to look at a report that's looking at chargeback alert date rather than chargeback date. So anyway, that you'll see that change immediately if you're using the chargeback alerts dashboard. Now, the last item in enhancements that I'll cover now is that the chargeback rate formula change. So what we did with the chargeback rate formula, we modified in all areas of analytics and reports whenever you're seeing the chargeback rate, know that we changed from looking at the acquisition date to actually looking at the chargeback date for the measurement, so for the percentage. So the difference between chargeback date and acquisition date, in case you're not aware, acquisition date is going to be the date that the initial order was placed. So if I had an initial order on September 1st and I charged back on September 15th, the old way of reporting the numerator in the denominator would be using the acquisition date, the September 1st, when I actually bought the initial. It's more actionable to be able to report a chargeback rate using the chargeback date. So we're going to move to the actual date that the chargeback was processed, and hopefully that lines up with when you actually got the chargebacks. So slight enhancement, but I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. So we'll get into the functionality. I'll share my screen with you, and we'll get into the first item is scheduled reports. I am going to cover scheduled reports first. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a report. I'm going to go into sales by retention. And what this functionality is going to allow you to do is with any report or any dashboard that we have, you can schedule this to go to yourself, whoever's on the account. So who's ever on behind this Limelight CRM is what I'm logged in as. So whose ever email address is on this account, they're the ones that are going to get this report sent to them. So let's say that you wanted to have a distribution group where 5 or 6 people, you want them to get this scheduled report. What you would do is you create a distribution group and with an email group like marketing@limelightcrm.com, and put that email in as your email address for the CRM, and then it'll go out to everybody. So again, I'll show you the features here. You can also just send a report straight out. Again, that's going to send it to whoever is on the account that you're logged into and using the send feature. That is also new. I'm not going to cover that in great detail because it's a lot like scheduled reports. Send is just, it sends it immediately. Whereas scheduled reports, so now if I go here, you can see I've got a couple scheduled reports here. So the first thing that I'll caution you about is when you go in and schedule a report or a dashboard, you have to go into the specific dashboard or report that you want scheduled to be able to see what your schedules are. And again, what I did was I simply, let's see. I simply went to the gear and I clicked schedule, and that brings up the scheduled reports function. And then I'll do that for any report or dashboard. So let's say that I want to name this report test 1. I'm just going to create a new test 1 report. Actually, I didn't want to do that. I'm going to close out of that and I'm going to start over. I'm going to go schedule and I'm going to go to new. Now it's going to create a new report for me. And I'm going to go test 1. And now you'll see that is now a scheduled report, but that's just going to have all the default items in it. And so I'll get into what each of these things are. So the first thing that you'll see here is that who should it be emailed to? This really just allows you to write a custom message in your the email that will be sent on the scheduled report. So you can put whatever you want there. Now, format data as. What this is there's 5 options for you to send the report in. Basically, the report format. So if you wanted to send an attached zip file, so that are CSV files that maybe you just want it sent to you daily, and you want to put that data into Excel, this would be the logical feature that you'd want to use. The other 4 are more for visualizing the report. These 2 are sent via PDF, and then these 2 are just sent right inside of the email. The difference is between the tiled and single column on each of these, whether it's PDF or embedded in the email. Tiled is going to look much like the actual report that you're looking at, whereas PDF single column or visualization single column, that's going to look like it's just going to be stacked. So it's kind of hard to explain without going into each one of these, and I don't think you all want to watch me go through each one of these items. But I'm going to select PDF single column, and what I would do is I would just play around with it and test it out, see what you like, see what you don't like, and go that route. The third item then is you pick your schedule, so daily, weekly, monthly, hourly, and by minute. Pretty straightforward. I would, hourly and by minute is pretty, it can be useful in reports because those are real time. In analytics, those are not real time. Those are daily. So hourly and by minute wouldn't necessarily make sense, but certainly daily, weekly, monthly is going to be used most frequently. Now, send. What you can do is you can schedule when this is actually sent. So if you want it done every day or specific days of the week, you can certainly do that there. And then time. What time of day do you want it sent? The filters are going to be whatever filters you want in the report or dashboard, the scheduled report. And each report that you go into will have different filters, obviously, but you'll want to set those. And then lastly, we've got advanced options. And really what the option is here is I can click use custom time zone. So right now I'm logged into the CRM in Mountain Time, and maybe I want my reports to go out in East Coast time. So let's say that I just put it at New York, or maybe I want it Pacific. You can do that too. So whatever you want to do with your time zone. Then you can send a test, which will send your test to you immediately. So you can look at it. And that's a good tool to use to play with the different visualization formats that we have. And then finally, I'm going to hit save all. When I hit save all, that window is going to go away. You're going to be sent back to the report, and you can go back in and see that schedule is there by seeing test 1. Now, let's say I just wanted to edit test 1. I would click on test 1, or maybe I want to do the demo scheduled report. I want to edit it. All I would do is maybe I want a different format. Maybe I want to send it on Tuesdays now. Now I'd go into that and I would just hit save all, and that's it. Then you can go back in. You can see the demo scheduled report is now going on Tuesday, and it's now a PDF tiled report. This is all pretty basic stuff, but I think if you spent maybe 5 minutes just playing around with it, you would get a pretty good idea of the usefulness of the reports, the scheduled reports. This is a feature that's been requested for some time, so I hope you enjoy it. And like always, if you've got feedback on scheduled reports, please do let me know. Okay, so the next item that we'll cover today is the API call counts report. And the way that I got to that is I simply went to Insights Reports, and that's loading the reports doorway page. And you'll see API call counts underneath operational. So if I go into this report, what you'll see is all the counts for each of your APIs that you've set up. The whole purpose of this report is simply to allow you to be able to count the calls to your through your API to your CRM instance. So you can see I've got several metric types set up here for the demo account. Order view, billing model view. There you can set up all your metric types that you want for the APIs to go through. And now I've got an API user ID, username, description, API department. This is maybe helpful to some folks that have a bunch of these just to see where, who's making these calls. I can see Harrison set this one up, the login. So anyway, it's a way for you to troubleshoot it. And then the last date that the API call was, or an API call was made. And here's where the meat of it is you can see the API calls by each metric type that is being made, and then the unique IP addresses. All this data that we have here is just meant for you to be just a little bit more on top of your API call counts that are being made to your CRM instance. And it's pretty straightforward, but hopefully you find this useful. So now we'll cover bin management, the new bin management dashboard. The whole purpose of the bin management dashboard is to really just allow you to analyze bins to determine which orders are blocked through the bin management feature within the platform. So I'm not going to get into the bin management feature. I'm just going to get into the reporting that you can now do through the bin management dashboard. So again, the way that I got to that is I went to Insights and then I went to Analytics. That loads this doorway page, go down to Operational, and I'll click into bin management, and we'll take a look at this new dashboard. I'm pretty excited about it because I hear, by with talking with people, just real creative ways that people are using our bin management feature to reduce their decline rate and to improve their overall ROI. So it's pretty happy about this dashboard. I hope you enjoy it. So the first thing that we'll cover, and we'll go left to right so that we don't miss anything, but the filter, it's going to default to 90 days. You can change that just like you can with any of the dashboards or reports. The first thing that you'll see in chart is you're going to see the top 20 banks. Disclaimer here that my data is not, superb in my demo account. So there's not like a lot of the visualizations aren't as rich as I would like. But as you log into your decline or your bin management dashboard, you're going to see richer data than what I'm showing you right now. But you'll get the point. So top 20 banks, we have these lined out from most, the most popular bank, which in this case is JP Morgan in my demo account. And then I've got ranking at 20 American Express Netherlands with 202 orders. So you can really hone in on the banks that are doing the most volume for you or orders and really isolate where should I pay attention? Should I pay attention to the banks that are doing the majority of the volume, or should I pay attention to some of these smaller banks that might not do a ton of volume, but maybe they have, higher chargeback rate, refund rate, intra cancellation rate, that type of thing. And I'll get into the bin data and really kind of the nuts and bolts of this dashboard here in a bit. But again, left to right, we've got the top 20 banks, and then we've got blocked by state so that you can isolate which states are getting blocked more than others. And you might see an anomaly that you want to drill into and really understand more about. So whenever you see an anomaly, or maybe there's an opportunity that you want to take advantage of, you're going to want to go down to this the bin data table. And this really has all your data in it. So you've got bin, you've got the bank, you've got the measurements here. So if I step back, and for those of you that aren't as familiar with bins, let me just give a couple minutes to explain it. So a bin, it looks at the card number, and it translates that card number into usable cohorts. And one of the cohorts is bank. And so we're pivoting on bank, or we have a dimension on bank in this report. There are other ways to look at bins, but the most useful in this case is bank. So that's what we're doing here. But one other item. So where do we get this data from? There's a service called BinBase that we subscribe to. It's a service that all they do is they make sure that their match rate for bin to the actual bank and other items that are listed within the bin is as high as possible. And BinBase is the hands down number one used service for matching up bins to banks. So we feel pretty good about not only the accuracy of the data, but the match rate of the data. Now, if I go left to right on this table, you're going to see, some things that look pretty normal. You're going to see orders, you're going to see gross revenue, chargeback percentage, refund rate, in-trial cancel percentage, initial approval percentage, subscription approval, and then you're going to get into your block orders and block revenue. Now, once you start getting into this, you'll start seeing more block orders and more block revenue. Now, that's there to help you really gauge how aggressive or how lenient you want to be on your business rules within bin management. And you'll be able to use this to sort. Maybe you want to sort on refund rate, or you want to sort on chargeback rate, or maybe even approval rate, and start to hone in on, hey, how can I get better acceptance through this bank? Maybe JP Morgan Chase. Maybe I want to concentrate on Wells Fargo, or whatever bank you want to improve your ability to either get a charge approved, or to block bad orders such as refunds and chargebacks, or maybe high in-trial cancel percentages. You can certainly do that with this dashboard.
Those are all the updates for analytics for August. Thank you, and stay tuned for next month.
Thank you, Greg, Melissa, and Chad, for walking us through all the latest features and enhancements that we have for August across the platform, integrations, and analytics. And thanks everybody for watching. As always, if you have any specific questions, please reach out directly to your client success manager. Stay tuned for next month.